You know, when I made my video on the Shy Girl drama, I spoke a little bit about H.M. Wolf's Daggermouth because at that time I saw some speculation it was written with AI or that the author herself wasn't real. I didn't go into depth back then because it wasn't like a lot of info to go off on, and so I just mentioned it briefly in that video. Ever since that Shy Girl video, I've been wondering if and when the Daggermouth AI speculation were gonna come back up or not surface, and lo and behold, here we are. Also, if you see me looking down here, it's because my phone is here with the script. I watched the video on the Daggermouth controversy from Bookshop with Shelley, and I commented on how black women seem to be more targeted and scrutinized for even the possibility of using AI, while white people and non-black people of color have admitted to using AI and got off scot-free. There may be a case where the opposite has happened, and if so, let me know. Then I was able to reply to my comment, and it spoke about someone else whose debut book deal was pulled due to AI speculation, even after a 14-publisher auction. What the? So, this video is going to be a bit more loaded, if that's the correct word. And I have about 2 weeks until I head back on vacation, so why not make the best out of my time? Before we continue, intro and disclaimers. Hi there, I am Alyssa. I also go by Lyss or Alsira, whichever is okay. I am a 27-year-old indie author and digital artist currently living in New York, born and raised. I have a BA in English, concentrating in creative writing, a minor in film and video studies, and an MFA in creative writing. I have self-published 2 poetry books, Constellidoscope and Death Rose, both available via Amazon and Barnes & Noble, which feel less impactful with every reiterance.
I would shave my head for you, a gesture which becomes less significant with each passing year.
Despite my accolades, I am not an expert on the English language, English literature, creative writing, or film productions. If I misinterpreted any information in this video or misrepresented any information in this video, please correct me in the comments down below. We are respectful, not assholes. I should also say that though I may be able to detect AI art, detecting AI in writing may not be so easy, and that's okay. I'm also not that well informed by the publishing industry. I will be linking sources down below, as well as Shelley's videos. With that being said, let's get on with the video. One more disclaimer that I forgot to add. Do not harass anyone mentioned in this video. So back when the whole Shy Girl controversy happened, I saw some drama happening with Daggermouth. I have not read Daggermouth. Daggermouth is a dystopian romance written by H.M. Wolf. It is an enemies to lovers military work of fiction, and has been heavily promoted by some parts of the romance community. I am not a romance reader, especially when it's in your face. I have been following a few book content creators who are romance readers, so that's how I was sort of introduced to the book. I'm also an advocate for promoting authors of color to a bigger platform because white authors have been taking up the main stage for so long. It was when the AI speculation started happening that Daggermouth was, on my feed. As some of you may know, I was on vacation in the beautiful state of Maine last month, and I told myself, no drama, no doom scrolling. Then, as we were about to leave, The Atlantic posted an article, and I'm like, once I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
I think I know how Peter Mon felt when the whole Joshua David Evans shit was happening. A little segue for the moment. We need a name for this one. I'm leaning towards Luther, but I trust you guys to suggest a good name. I am not naming this Larry or Kevin. And here's the lobster. I actually forgot that I bought him. He's called Big Lucky, but he doesn't give up lucky to me. Anyways, back to Daggermouth. The Atlantic posted this article written by Will Oremus, and woo, it is a load of. There were some things that stuck out to me. I'll start with the obvious. So, in this article, Oremus states that this book, Daggermouth, and I should have prefaced with this, and I said this earlier, but I have not read any of the books I'll be talking about in this video, although besides my own, but they're not part of this. You know what I mean. I have not read Daggermouth. The next book we'll be talking about, or Shy Girl. Daggermouth went through an AI detector and came back with 60% of AI writing. I will have the article linked down below. I'm going to talk about the AI detector a little bit later, so put a pin on that. So you must be thinking, how did that happen? Daggermouth started off as an indie book before being picked up by a trad publisher, Simon & Schuster. If you can recall, Mia Ballow's Shy Girl started off the same way, but through Orbit. Continuing on, some of the evidence that Daggermouth may have been AI generated was that it contained a few lines that were word for word found in other ebooks via Amazon. I'll include the screenshot here so you can read it for yourself. Basically, the quotes consist of steamy scenes and moments of hearing your pulse in your ear. I'll say this, Daggermouth is a romance novel. Do you know how many romance novels have lines like that or similar to that? For eons, we had books of smut and spice before generative AI was even conceived. They contain lines like that. We have arguments supporting and against the speculation that Daggermouth was written with AI. The book went through a study of academics studying AI writing. The leader of that study, Stony Brook's computer professor Tuhin Chakrabarty, devised another check, this time looking for rare expressions, or a list of at least 5 words in a specific order, especially ones that appeared in other AI-generated books, but not particularly ones written by humans. This study has not been peer-reviewed at this point, and Wolf's lawyer said that there was no definitive proof that AI was used in this book. So why are we doing this? Not involved with the study, Mohit Iyer, I apologize if I messed that name up, a professor from the University of Maryland, is an expert of AI detection. Article's words, not my own. And says that it's almost impossible for a book that was human written to come up as 6% AI generated. And I agree, because where did generative AI get its training? Humans. I wanted to focus on the AI detector that was used. I didn't talk much about this in my Shy Girl video, but the article is still up, and so are the other videos created by others creators. This was the same AI detector that used in the Shy Girl investigation. Which, by the way, that detector didn't use the published version of Shy Girl. It used the pirated version from Ocean of PDF, which I'm very glad is taken down. AI detector in question? Pangram. There are limitations with this detector, and it seems to correlate high ebook sales or virality with possible AI use. Correlation is not causation. This is very unfair for many authors, including indie authors, because we rarely get to represent ourselves on a big stage or defend ourselves. I hope there is legal action taken here, not only against the publication of this article, but also the application of an AI detector, because aren't you also training that AI detector with that book without the author's consent? At least someone spoke up about this. I don't think H.M. Wolf used AI in this book at all, and I haven't read it. But if her lawyer says she didn't, then she didn't. So remember that comment I mentioned earlier that I made on Shelley's video about Daggermouth? And in response to that comment, I mentioned a black author whose debut book was also pulled due to AI speculation, just like Shy Girls. And I'm looking into it, and you know which AI detector was the culprit? Fucking Pangram. I was reading this article as I was writing the script, so imagine my reaction when I found out that this is the 3rd time I've had to read about Pangram. This is getting so fucking ridiculous. So, the book that was pulled before its debut was Call Me, I'll Hide the Body, and was written by Nigerian author Jerry Adebayo Falade. This book was in a 14-publisher auction. What? I didn't even know there was auctions for publishers. And I would freak the fuck out if my book was in there. There's not much about Jerry other than he's a grad student at Southern Methodist University in Dallas who's working towards his PhD. And just like Mia Ballard, his debut was pulled before his eyes. Of course, it wasn't pulled so close to his release date, but I still feel bad for Mia at that point. Well, not entirely bad, but anyways. His agent and publishers cut ties with him. Falade is very adamant that he didn't use AI, and his professors could attest to that. Especially since Falade has been working on this project way back in 2021, before ChatGPT was even launched. There's a demand to see the drafts Falade was working with, and from what I've heard, he only worked with one draft, editing and revising it, which is something that a number of authors do. Is that proof that he used AI in this book for this book? And I can see how it wouldn't be like a strong enough defense. Now you must be wondering at this point, Shy Girl, Daggermouth, Call Me I'll Hide the Body. What do they have in common? They were debut books written by Black authors, all of which were accused of AI use, all of which were ran through the same AI detector Pangram, and 2 of these debuts were pulled before the release date. Only one of them has admitted to AI use, but claimed it was her editor friend. I'm talking about Mia Ballard. The other 2 have denied use at all. It is very frustrating to see how far and fast generative AI is becoming, and also the AI witch hunt that is going on. I'm not saying all AI is bad. Algorithmic AI or system AI work within a closed system and don't scrub the content freely. Generative AI scans content without the author's knowledge to generate a recycled, garbage, discombobulated version of it. It's absolutely ridiculous having to watch how I write my emails, poems, scripts, and everything just because an AI trained on it. Especially in my emails. I've been writing like this since high school. My teachers can attest to that. Although it's been like over 10 years. I highly doubt they remember me. As an indie author writing her debut novel, I am fearful and overly stressed having to prove that I did not use AI in my writing. I'm telling you right now, I did not use AI in my writing at all. Nor am I ought. Before I was completed with writing the script for this video, I was scrolling through threads the other night, and I came across this screenshot, this post, by this author for, oh my god, thank you ADHD for wiping out my memory like that, who said that her book, which was inspired by Twilight, was being accused of AI, including the cover, and both she and the illustrator can attest that both of them were not created with AI. And also this author is a Black woman as well. So there is a growing trend in accusing Black authors of using AI and the reaction to that is so much more astronomical than it is to white authors and non-Black people of color. And it's just confounding how much racism and misogyny is dug deep inside the book community. I remember when I first joined this community, or quote-unquote joined the community, people were like, oh, I'm only here because it's drama free and everything. I'm like, shut up. Shut up. You cannot find a community that is drama free when people are not being called out for their shit, and when shit is not being called out. I mentioned in the previous video during my intro that the fact that my books are on platforms such as Amazon and Barnes & Noble is becoming less impactful with each passing headline. I said that because at the time of writing that script in a previous video, I saw articles about Amazon using AI imprints for their books, and Barnes & Noble also using AI books. What is the fucking point of this? What is the point of being an indie author? Of having resources to publish your own book without the restrictions and stipulations of a traditional publisher like the Big Five? What are we doing here? I could talk about Carl Hart, but Nemisphere from Favorite Artist or something, here got that covered. It feels like self-publishing has become a money-making business with no heart. In the Atlantic article, they talked about an author who's had 400 ebook titles on Amazon. I'm going to say this, way before generative AI ever existed, there were and are still authors who have written and published books under pen names via Amazon. If we allow books written with AI on that platform, what are we saying to those authors who've written books up and down yin-yang through their laptop in the back of their car or apartment? Before I end this video, there was a line from a fantasy novel in the Atlantic article that was responding to a prompt of writing in another author's style. We've done exercises like this in high school and even college. In fact, I'm doing one in my upcoming poetry collection. The original poem is The Lake of Innisfree by William Butler Yeats, and here are my 2 attempts at writing in this poet style with the New York setting. Keep in mind that these 2 attempts are first drafts, and I may be writing a 3rd attempt. Who knows, they're not indicative of the final product. The Lake Isle of Innisfree by William Butler Yeats. I'll arise and go now, and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin build there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings, their midnights all a glimmer, and soon a purple glow, in evening full of the linnet's wings. I'll arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore, while I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's gray, I hear it in the deep's hard core. Here is the first attempt. I will wake and leave now, and go to the valley, and a small house build there, of brick and mortar. 12 apple tree rows will I have there, an orchard for the bee, and live alone in the buzzing quarter. And peace shall be had there, accompanied by the occasional songs of larks, brooks, and cars, the seldom rain that did come there. Skies a mural, designed especially by the artist herself on the diurnal. And as soon as she arrives, I'll be back before dark, my dear. I will wake and leave now, on the road that heads south. Yes, I'll stay to hear the larks singing, but excuse my being crass when I hear the cars moving. By sunrise I must be out, and toast these apples to the island, a city of glass. Second attempt. I will wake and depart now, and head for the valley, and a small raft crafted there of aluminum and motor. 12 apple tree rows will I have there, an orchard for the bee, and live alone upon the rippling quarter. For peace shall be had there, accompanied by the occasional songs of larks, brooks, and cars, the seldom rain that did come there. Here skies a mural, painted by the artist whose sleep is diurnal. And as soon as she awakes, you won't find me here. I will wake and depart now on the road that heads south. The river sings with its choir, forgive my being crass. When the road no longer meanders, and my foul mouth begins to curse the night, I return to the island, a city of glass. If you've reached this far, please leave a book emoji in the comments down below. Or a lobster emoji. I would love to hear your opinions regarding this. If you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments down below. I do reserve the right not to talk about a topic. Support me any way that you can. Buy my books. Every purchase counts. You can also commission arts for me via Ko-Fi or Ko-Fi. I don't care how it's called now. I'll be on vacation for the second half of August, starting on the 17th. I'll be back in September. While I'm gone, play it nice. Don't make me pull a Peter Mon. Peter Mon, if you do not like that reference, I'll stop using it. Although, it's not like you watched this or anything. Make sure that you hydrate and be safe, and have a wonderful summer. Bye!